Army. The Army is the oldest branch of the U.S. military since it has its roots in the Continental Army, which was formed on the 14th of June 1775 to fight against the British for independence during the American Revolutionary War, right after the Revolutionary War. The Continental Army was disbanded and the U.S. Army was created on the 3rd of June 1784. It's the land service branch, and its purposes are to protect us land and support national policies. It's also the largest branch in the U.S. with around 1 million soldiers, even though it's one of the strictest ones and needs 10 weeks of basic training. The Army is currently divided into 3 components: the Regular Army, the Army Reserve, and the Army National Guard. The Regular Army is the full-time component of the Army where soldiers serve as their primary occupation, and they are the most readily available force for immediate response to any global crisis or military requirement. The Army Reserve and National Guard offer soldiers the opportunity to serve part-time while maintaining a civilian career, and they typically focus more on support roles and specialties, such as medical legal engineering and logistics. Navy. The U.S. Navy is the most powerful in the world and the largest by tonnage at 4.5 million tons in 2021. It's the third largest of the United States military service branches in terms of personnel with around 350,000 soldiers. The Navy is the second oldest branch in the U.S. military, with its predecessor, the Continental Navy, being created just 4 months after the Continental Army, and it had great contributions in the American Civil War by blockading the Confederacy, and in World War II by defeating Imperial Japan. Its mission is recruit, train, equip, and organize to deliver combat-ready naval forces to win conflicts and wars, while maintaining security and deterrence through sustained forward presence. The last part is especially important nowadays since it's one of the most used branches for deterrence and instigating fear in the enemy, for example by sending aircraft carriers near their territories. Just like the Army, you also need 10 weeks of basic training to join them. Air Force. The Air Force was originally created as a part of the U.S. Army branch in 1907, but it became its own branch in 1947, making it the second youngest branch. Its priorities consist of asserting air dominance and providing intelligence, such as reconnaissance, target acquisition, etc. It offers huge help to land troops, both assuring that they're not attacked by enemy air forces and attacking enemy land troops or strategic positions. For this reason, it's the most funded branch in the U.S. military with $216 billion, and some say it has the best locations, facilities, and quality of life, calling it the Chair Force. The Air Force also operates in cyberspace, offering cyber defense to U.S. networks and potentially attacking enemy ones. You need 8 and 1/2 weeks of basic training to get into it. Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is organized under the Department of the Navy, and it's considered to be one of the most respected and cohesive branches in the military. Its motto is Ser Fidelis, which means always faithful in Latin, and its traditions reinforce their camaraderie, such as the Marine Corps Birthday celebrated every year on the 10th of November, where the first slice of cake is given to the oldest Marine present, who in turn hands it off to the youngest Marine present. They focus on tip-of-the-spear invasions, amphibious warfare, and they're one of the quickest reaction forces guarding most U.S. embassies around the world. Their basic training is considered to be one of the hardest and longest ones, with 13 weeks needed, and they're known to have a culture of obedience. Some say they have a historical competitive relationship with the Army for funding and missions, since some of their capabilities overlap. Coast Guard. The Coast Guard does maritime law enforcement missions with jurisdiction in both domestic and international waters. Just like the Navy, its personnel are assigned all over the world, and forces routinely deploy to both littoral and blue water regions. It also saves people's lives in water, intervenes in natural disasters like tsunamis, and intercepts illegal migrations and drugs. During peacetime, the Coast Guard operates under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, while in wartime, it can be transferred in whole or in part to the U.S. Department of the Navy by order of the President or by act of Congress. Their basic training is 8 weeks long, making it one of the shortest ones. Space Force. The Space Force is youngest branch of the military, having been signed into law by President Trump in 2019. This makes them the first new independent military service since the Army Air Forces were reorganized as the U.S. Air Force in 1947. It's organized under the Department of the Air Force, and it's the smallest branch with just around 8,600 military personnel and 77 spacecraft. They currently have a shortest training 7 and 1/2 weeks. Thanks for watching video. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.